I came home from work and found my 6-year-old standing alone outside, shaking in the snow. When I pulled into our driveway after work that night, I almost did not register what I was seeing at first, because my brain refused to accept it. Then my headlights swept across the front of the house, and I saw my 6-year-old daughter standing by the porch, wrapped in nothing but her thin school clothes, snow piling up around her shoes. I slammed the brakes, threw the car into park, and ran to her as fast as I could. Nora was shaking so hard her teeth were chattering, her little hands stiff and red from the cold, tears frozen on her cheeks. I wrapped my coat around her and pulled her close, my heart pounding so loud I could barely hear myself speak. She told me her father had locked the door and said she was not allowed back inside until I came home from work. It was Friday night, almost 9 o'clock, and Jonathan knew I always worked late on Fridays. This was not a misunderstanding. This was deliberate. When I asked how long she had been outside, she whispered that it was since the morning, since I left for work. That was when something inside me snapped. I carried her to the front door, my hands shaking with fury, and unlocked it with my key. Inside, the heat was blasting. Jonathan was exactly where I expected him to be, sprawled on the couch in his underwear, beer cans everywhere, controller in his hands while he played video games like the world did not exist. I asked him how he could leave our daughter outside in the snow all day, and he barely looked away from the screen. He said she spilled juice on his controller that morning and needed to learn consequences. I stared at him in disbelief, holding a freezing child in my arms while he sat in comfort. That was when I noticed her backpack by the door, stuffed full, her favorite stuffed bunny sticking out the top like she had been packed away. Jonathan finally stood up and told me, calmly and without shame, that he had decided he was done being a father. He said the family life was not for him, that Nora was too much work, too expensive, and that he never really wanted kids anyway. He told me to take her and leave, that he had already changed the locks and planned to give up his parental rights so he would not have to pay support. Nora heard everything. She clung to me, her eyes wide and scared, and that was when I stopped feeling shock and started feeling clarity. I made 2 phone calls right there in front of him. One to my lawyer to file the emergency custody paperwork we had prepared months earlier. One to my father to come get us. Then I told Jonathan exactly what he should have known already. I had documented everything. The insults, the messages where he called our daughter a mistake, the recordings of him screaming at her, the neighbors who had seen how he treated her, and every important document in Nora's life was already in my name alone, because he never wanted to deal with responsibility. By the time my dad's truck pulled into the driveway, Jonathan looked like a man watching his life collapse in real time. I told him he had no legal rights left and that any judge would grant full custody and a restraining order after what he had done that night. I picked up Nora's bag, kissed her forehead, and walked out without looking back. She whispered goodbye to him as we left, and he did not say a word. 2 years later, Nora barely remembers him. I am remarried to a man who treats her like his own child, and our house is warm in every sense of the word. Jonathan is still alone in that same house, still playing video games, and still exactly where his choices led him.